fact, that was.
No more room in hell. The dead will walk here.
Welcome. Yes, three corners of horror minus two, but add our. He'll say bench player, but he's not a bench player. He's one of us.
Sixth man of the year.
So, yes, I'm joined by Radar. Ricky Grimes is on vacation. Joe the psychologist is on vacation. They will be back next episode. But, yes, I'm here with Radar. Radar, are you ready for this French film?
Oui, monsieur. I love that. I love that most of Horror Fiend was like, all right, well, it's summertime. I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, you know. And then we're here with zombies, which is usually, Ricky Grimes definitely likes his zombie films. And we are going to be talking about this interesting film. Yes. The Night Eats the World, 2018, directed by Dominique Rocher. The cast includes Anders Danielson Lee as Sam, Golshifteh Farahani as Sarah, and our favorite elevator resident, Dennis Levant as Alfred. So, what is the synopsis of this French film? Well, Sam happens to go to a party to collect his stuff from an ex-girlfriend. And, well, let's say he gets stuck at this party. So, Sam, drinks his wine, he could have drank beer, he could have got shots, but no, I'm going to drink wine because I'm just going to sit in the corner soak because I can't get my tapes, which was he was waiting for. But he decides, well, he gets told by Fanny, his ex-girlfriend, to why don't you go at the end of the hall, there's an office there, and wait for me, and we'll talk. So Sam goes there, looks for his stuff, ends up falling asleep, and then when he awakens, the world went to shit, and why the fuck was he sleeping throughout this whole thing? But we'll talk about it because it is going to be an interesting film. So, Radar, the first question I have to ask you, because I'm sure you thought about it as you're watching the beginning of this film, is how drunk or tired must you truly be to sleep through a night of a zombie apocalypse?
I feel like you have to be on death's doorstep, that level of tired. But then again, that there was some bumping tunes going on, and Sam was a music man, so maybe that the tunes were just soothing him during the end of the fucking world. I don't know if music's ever soothed you that much, but maybe Sam.
I gotta tell you, when this movie started, that music though, I got into it, man. You're sitting there, he's going in here, doom, 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 like, oh, all right, okay, this is my kind of party, and. He's there. I mean, of course, he was a party pooper because, he was just there to collect his belongings, which you kind of felt bad because, here is his ex-girlfriend. He goes to his, I didn't even know you were throwing a party. He tells her, oh, no, my boyfriend basically, Mateo decided to invite a few friends, and that was a lot of friends. I mean, it kind of reminded me of the beginning sequence of Cloverfield when they go to the party.
Oh, right.
All hell breaks loose, but this one does it in a very slow burn.
Yeah, very slow burn, because I mean he finds out, oh no, the zombie apocalypse happened, but after that first couple of minutes, then it's just like a nice, just peters along.
Yeah, then he basically awakens, and all of a sudden, everybody's a zombie. I mean, I like the sequence of when he's in the room in the office, falling asleep. He leans back, and then the camera focuses to the door, and you hear the music, and all of a sudden you hear screams and running. But the fact that the music was still overpowering, it kind of hid, the screams and all that ruckus. And that gotta have been like these zombies were like, hey, I'm just gonna skip this door. I mean, they didn't even bother. I mean, what do you think about the fact that they didn't even bother with this door?
Hey man, they may be flesh-eating monsters, but they have manners. When the door is closed, you leave it closed, all right?
I like the way this film began because it began with a lot of people and it began with this tension between him and Fanny. And the fact that, he's there at this party and he doesn't want to be there. He just wants to get his stuff and close this chapter of his life. But little did he know that the next chapter is a fucking zombie apocalypse. and everybody's like gone. I mean, like the scene where he's looking out the window and he's just witnessing this couple getting attacked, running to the car.
Yeah.
I mean, and what before we can, what did you think of the zombies in this film?
So I think it's such a cool idea that like the zombies are basically silent. Because and everything like in American zombies anyways, and most zombies, there's a lot of grunting noises, but these zombies are like absolutely quiet, and that's, I feel like that they didn't explore it in this film, but you could definitely have a zombie like sneak up on someone and like take them out if you wanted to. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if the quietness makes the zombies better for you or does it make them worse?
I liked it because the only time you got the sense of the zombies was when they would bang on the door, or the sequences where they're running after somebody and hear the like the thumping of them running.
Yeah.
And I liked that because, like you were saying, I don't want to hear the zombies make noise. I don't want to hear that stuff. Yeah, because you figure they're dead, so you don't think your vocal cords are not working.
Right.
but I did like the whole feel of it. I did like the fact that it brought something different to it, because even at certain times where he was exploring the building he barricaded himself in, you seen the zombies, but it was more them running and just the sounds of their footsteps, which I like that they used that sound factor to basically give you more attention. Like, do you remember the scene where after he barricaded himself in he's going through like apartment to apartment, and then he goes in that one apartment and there's like that family there?
Yeah, and he just like, and he wasn't expecting him because like there's not much sound, then they almost get him. Yeah, that was great. Like, and it's realistic because if you hear someone yelling brains coming for you, you're probably gonna be prepared for it. But like a little sneaker coming up on you, no way.
And the three different footstep sounds, because remember you had the little girl, and then you had the mom, and then you had the dad. And I like the fact that he went and like closed the door, because he still showed a lot of, like, humanity towards them.
Yeah.
Because he locked the door, and then he marked the door to let them know which basically apartment has some zombies in it, which that was unique. But
yeah.
But before we continue, there's one character I got to talk about before I ask you the next question.
Oh yeah.
So, as our hero Sam is going through this building, this apartment complex, he stumbles upon this old fella who he names Alfred. So Alfred is trapped in the elevator, and I gotta ask about, because I think Alfred played a dynamic role in this film. But like, what did you think of when the discovery of Alfred, as far as when he discovered him and their interactions like throughout the film?
Yeah, I thought it was one of those classic, like I thought it was more like showing that Sam was just didn't have a spine to like kill these zombies when he had Alfred trapped in the elevator. But as the film goes on, the Alfred is just a character, which is just so funny because he doesn't say anything, obviously, because he's a zombie. He's just sitting there tapping on the elevator, and it's so interesting that they put a lot of character, or at least Sam projected so much character onto this zombie. And I can't think of any other like zombie films where they do that. Can you? I can't. Maybe Day of the Dead. I don't know.
I mean, the closest thing I would say to like person showing compassion was Shaun of the Dead at the end. Right. Where they're playing video games together.
That's fair.
But as far as like a serious, like zombie film, no, I think that,
yeah.
And I found that so interesting because every interaction with Alfred was different. Even at the point where he's yelling at him.
Yeah, where he's really pissed at him for no reason.
And then he comes back down. Hey, Alfred, I'm sorry, I yelled at you earlier. Apologizing to a zombie. But yeah, I love that interaction because I gotta tell you, this film, for the minimal characters this film had, each character that they brought, like Alfred, but I feel like he played an important role because he kind of kept Sam, he kept Sam as someone Sam could go talk to, like he really didn't feel alone because he knew Alfred would always be in the elevator. But there's a character because throughout this film, you wonder if he's alone.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where he's looking out the window to the apartment complex across the street, and he thought he saw somebody. So throughout the film, you get those, like the sound, the running, the thumping,
all of that.
And he wonders, is he really alone? So there's a scene where there's a pounding on the door. So he grabs a shotgun and basically blows a hole through the door. In the process, on the other side of the door was Sarah. So, I want you to get a little bit into this whole thing with Sarah, exactly like what happened after he shot her at the door, and like the whole interaction between them two. I mean, let everybody know, like about the Sarah.
Yeah. So Sarah, he fills her gut with some pellets, and of course, he's had Alfred, but he hasn't had a actual human being to interact with since it started, which is such an interesting development, right? Because he's such an introvert. You could tell from the beginning, but eventually you need to talk to someone. And so he's just, one, I think it's, oops, I might have accidentally killed someone. And two, I just need someone to talk to. And so he just desperately tries to, fix this person. And for the next, for the next couple of scenes after that, it's him like talking to Sarah, nursing her up, and then them talking about, like kind of looking at their supplies, and he's very firm on, I want to stay here. We'll be fine. And he even goes and clears out that apartment with the family zombies to make sure they have enough food for them to stay there. And she's like, no, we got adventure. We got to go out somewhere because at least we'll have tried. And it's a bit of a doozy when there's a twist that comes. Do you want to reveal the twist?
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So the twist is that he's like, they have this argument on the roof because she's like, we need to go explore, and he goes, nope. And they have this fight, and then he goes, okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna apologize. Goes into the bedroom to apologize to her, and she died from the gunshot. She's been dead the whole time. He has just projected himself onto her, and I feel like it's the perfect twist of the French knife that he starts rummaging through her stuff and then finds the photos, and like the first ones are of her and her kids. Just brutal. Oh man. But I really enjoyed that kind of twist. I was like, okay, there's just going to be this run of the mill sort of, they have this little argument, and then he goes, oh yeah, right, we need to get out of here. And then they go and do it, but that's not what happens. Do you think that kind of amplified the story a little bit, like that, them doing a twist instead of just having Sarah be alive?
I think it did, because the fact that, the whole time he was wondering if he's by himself. And the one opportunity he had to be with somebody, he freaking shot them. Granted, not for nothing. I think most of us would have pulled the trigger if there's something pounding on the door. But the fact that the guilt was so much that he imagined that they were having these moments together.
Right.
That one scene where he has all, like the wine glass, all this stuff, making music and stuff. and she's just looking at him. I mean, any other film would have made a love story out of this.
Yeah.
And the fact that they have a chance for a love story because he freaking basically killed her the minute he pulled the trigger. Which, yeah, I like that twist because I didn't see it coming. My expectation was, all right, just like every other zombie film or apocalyptic film, they find, a person from the other gender, and they're gonna fall in love because that's how you were starting. You were starting to get the feeling that, all right, they're gonna have a relationship because one, it's just them two, and they're lonely. So yeah, I mean, I like the way it was revealed too, because the fact that he just walks in the room and there's her court. I don't know how long he had her there too, because
that's probably a little creepy too.
Yeah, I mean, did he lay down next to her? That could go a different route, but it's like I liked it because, like you were saying before, he was an introvert, so this whole time he was afraid to actually have company. Then when he had the opportunity for company, you could say he blew it.
He blew it.
But yeah, I think it made this film more interesting because this film was more about the character of Sam than it was about the zombies and what's going on with the rest of the world. And like, think about it, he goes outside to try to rescue a cat.
I forgot about that scene too.
To go get a cat because he needed company, which goes to what you were saying too about the zombies, how the zombies didn't react to, like, him walking. They reacted to noise.
Yeah.
And there's even one scene where he's just at this point, he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna put the drums by the window and I'm gonna just play my rock music and start screaming and stuff. And yeah, if they hear me, they hear me. And all of a sudden you see a swarm of zombies coming and he's just screaming at them and just playing the drums. And which, at this point, I'm like, all right, this boy, yeah, he's snapped. He's over.
He's out the deep end.
Now, you were talking about that roof scene with him and Sarah.
Yeah.
I mean, prior to that scene, a little bit after that scene, because he gets back to the roof later on in the film, but I want to revisit something with Alfred real quick, because this scene kind of like it left me wondering about the state of these zombies, because after he realized what happened to Sarah, that she was dead, he goes and he opens the elevator, and Alfred didn't go to attack him. Alfred kind of like followed them. He basically went to Alfred's apartment, opened the door for him, and just let him walk in. I mean,
yeah.
It's such
what do you think? Strange moment. It's such a strange moment because and I think I like that it's just not what you would expect a zombie to do, and that they don't try to explain it in any way, shape, or form. It's just what it is, because it's open to interpretation of, like, did Alfred really like Sam? Was there some bit of humanity in him? Was Alfred just a defective zombie? Like the virus didn't get him that much. Who knows? Maybe being stuck in an elevator has an effect on a zombie. Who knows? It's so interesting that they did that. It's just an extra flavor, kind of like, what we've talked about with Sarah's death and everything, and like how they're silent. There's all these little extra things that it's thrown in to give it this kind of freshness. And I think Alfred is just another part of that. And I think also that one of the other kind of layers of freshness is how Sam gets his weapon, because he gets in an interesting way. What did you think about, because he only has a shotgun. How do you think about him getting that shotgun?
How he didn't get shot during that scene messed me up, because all right, so Sam hears a noise down, so he hears like something like a thump in the the apartment below him. So he starts banging on the floor, and then all of a sudden a bullet hole that goes right through the floor. And I gotta tell you, that's the practical effects of that man who just committed suicide. and blew his head off were actually pretty good because the fact that you have the wound on the right side, but his eyes are looking up to see him. I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then the apartment comes back into play because after he released Alfred, and this is where the zombies ended up coming back, basically breaching the barricades he had set up. He goes into that apartment and he's chased by that zombie that has it's just the limb, and he throws like cover over his head, and the zombie just sits there, which messed me up. I'm like, holy, what the fuck? And then he goes and basically escapes the hole. So when he got through the hole, he basically it was like smoke, and that's another interesting thing how he was walking among them because you had this smoke screen. Which another thing is like I expected them to attack him and they didn't. So this film did a lot different as far as the zombies and how they react to people. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw the film, The Girl with All the Gifts.
I have not. No, I have not.
If you get a chance, definitely watch it. It's based off a bestseller book.
Mm-hmm.
But the zombies are like that too, how they're able to walk among the zombies in a certain way, being cautious not to make noise.
Okay.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of this, but yeah, the fact that he got the shotgun because the guy blew his brains out and then that was his only weapon. Yeah, there was a lot of like small details in this film that I enjoyed. And like you were saying, it was so different from what we're used to watching.
Yeah,
and
they didn't try to explain it either. I really like that.
I love that because you didn't care what the hell happened. You don't know how it happened. You don't. I mean, granted, yes, the minute you get bit, you turn.
Yeah,
but like I think the way it did it in steps in this film, where it was basically, he was almost happy to be alone, having this massive apartment by himself.
Yeah.
And then the next stage, he wants company, he wants a cat. He has Alfred, he imagines Sarah, and then basically the way the movie ends. Now, before we wrap it up, what did you think of the ending of the film where he goes back to the roof, grabs the rope and throws himself and basically hits against the wall and stuff? What do you think about that whole scene at the end?
It's a little uplifting, honestly, for a French movie, but it leaves a lot of ambiguity and it's still bleak the second you start thinking about it. And I like that. I like that a lot. I don't know if you got that same kind of bleakness I did from it, but just, as soon as I started thinking about it, I'm like, well, now he doesn't have shit. Yeah. He's got nothing. So, what is he going to do? What is he going to eat? Where's he going to go?
You know what threw me off the most, though, was the fact that at the end of the film where he climbs on that roof, also he notices all these like almost like buckets that were collecting rainwater this whole time.
Yeah. Across
every single apartment complex. But when he was up there with Sarah, he didn't see anything.
Yeah.
So I liked that because did he block the world from his mind to the point where something as simple as a bucket taking rainwater on the opposite, apartment complex, he ignored it or he didn't see.
Yeah.
It was just like, I mean, I agree with you. The way this film ended with the ambiguity, with just like, all right, what next? I mean, I hope they don't make a sequel. Leave this as is. Leave this as is. But let's get down to it. Any last thoughts? Rate the film. And what do you think of the film?
Yeah, so there's only like 2 other comments I have about it. The first one is like, damn, what is his ex-girlfriend doing that she can get an apartment that big in Paris? And it says it is Paris.
Yes.
What is she doing? Can I do it? Please? And then the other thing is this is a French movie, but it's they all speak in English, which I get to kind of, make it more mass appeal, but it just feels a little off when they talk. And I feel like it's just because, English isn't their native language. I feel like if they spoke in French, it would sound phonetically sound better, but there's not much dialogue in this movie, so I can't really knock it too bad. But other than that, it did a lot that was refreshing with the zombie genre, and the zombie genre, for lack of a better word, has been beat to death.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if I had to give it on a 1 to 5 scale, I would probably put it at a solid 3.5. It's pretty good. What about you? And do you have any thoughts, and what's your rating?
See, zombie films for me is like you're saying, like they're being to death, so you kind of you have there's a lot of predictability in a lot of zombie films. So what I like about this film is that other zombie films, they're all about the violence, they're all about the zombies attacking, they're all about, just the mayhem and carnage and stuff, and witnessing people get eaten alive. But this one took a step back from that. It was more about how do you deal with the isolation of feeling like you're alone in the world, where you rather barricade yourself and make pretend like the rest of the world doesn't exist. And then you find a company with Alfred, who becomes your BFF, and how they showed his humanity to the point where you didn't expect. I mean, I'm gonna keep harking on the scene with him and Alfred because it was so different. The way their friendship was, the way he followed, Sam back to, Alfred's apartment. He goes in there, closes the door. And the fact that he had like a bruise in the back of the head, which it made me question, all right, how the hell did he become a zombie? Because I didn't see no, you don't know if there was bite marks, but the fact that he had some kind of open wound in the back of his head kind of left me like, all right, that's interesting.
Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think if they spoke French and you had the English subtitles, it would have pulled you in a little bit more. I do like the character Sam. I think he was well done. Sarah, for her role, I think that was good. It was a very good twist in the film that you weren't expecting the twist, to be honest.
Yeah.
If the twist you were going to be expecting is how they became zombies, which I'm glad, like you said, didn't care. They didn't mention it. No need to say it. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a low. I'm gonna give this one a 4 because
okay.
It did feel fresh. It did feel a little bit original to me. I like the concept. I like how they did the film. The cinematography was good. Like the subtle moments where he's just sitting there in the quietness. You felt that isolation. You felt it too. So this film was a lot about emotions and how would you deal in this situation, rather than watching these other zombie films where you have the bigger fight for survival. Where this one is okay. I barricaded myself. See and wait what happens.
Yeah, well, I'll just wait it out.
Yeah, I'll wait it out. Hopefully they all die, and see what happens. They're not going to make it in, and it's just going to be me and Alfred, and then God damn, I need to get me that cat.
Come here.
But yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, definitely a refreshing movie. I'm glad we got to talk about this, and hopefully, Ricky Grimes and Joe Psychologist, they do this one on Brains and Brews, because this is, I think, a film that needs to be talked about a little bit more. I mean, I stumbled upon it, and I got interested just reading the synopsis. Like, hey, let me watch this, man.
Yeah, it's interesting because it is international, and international films don't get enough recognition. But I've never heard of this one, never.
Yeah, and I feel like this. I mean, granted, this is 2018, but I would say you could even go from 2018 to now. There's been a lot of international films that have been so good, so well done, that I'm hoping that people open their eyes a little bit more to these international films, because they do things differently. They don't continue making like stagnant, stale movies. Their movies always feel somewhat refreshing because it's always taken from a different perspective, and just the creativity. I mean, this is Who would have thought a movie would have been like this? Especially
Yeah.
zombie.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I mean, it really is like of the subgenres in horror, it's the most trotted one for me in personal opinion. And the fact that, this film comes along and doesn't redefine it. It just does enough subtle little things the right way.
Yes.
Excellent.
And character building. Great
There you
character
go.
building is best.
Got to have good characters.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this too. It's like the last episode we did on Three Corners of Horror, Disappear Completely, was a good character. And that was an international film too. It's a Mexican film. But a good character in a horror film adds another layer to the movie. So hopefully we get more films where they build upon a character or characters to basically show how a film could probably be done without just the simple tropes of your typical horror movies. But yeah, definitely good film, international film. I love international films. And Radar, thank you for jumping on board.
Happy to be aboard.
So, like Ricky Grimes says, first of all, like, share, subscribe. Got more coming your way here on Three Corners of Horror. And we have new shows on the way. Yes, there's something special happening in this channel, and we continue to build and improve. And we have more shows, like I said, that are going to be coming out with different hosts. Maybe someone over here. You never know, but yes, you'll see we have more coming your way. So, Three Corners of Horror, JR, Radar, like Ricky Grimes says, don't forget always and stay scared. Alfred.